In order to better ensure access to acupuncture in New York, the State Assembly advanced legislation this spring addressing health insurance coverage for the service. For more on the legislation and how acupuncture can be utilized, we're joined by the measure's Assembly sponsor, Queens Democrat Ron Kim. Welcome back to the show, Assemblymember.
Yeah, thank you for having me back on, Dave.
It's our pleasure. So right now, what are the barriers facing New Yorkers who want to obtain acupuncture?
More New Yorkers than ever are seeking acupuncture as a way to manage their pains, personal injuries, anxiety, depression, you name it. And this is something that has proven to be very effective and affordable at times. But more New Yorkers are finding that they can't afford it because their insurance won't cover it. Even in cases when doctors are prescribing them, oh, why don't you try, instead of taking all these pain medication, try some acupuncture or acupressure, all this holistic healing as a way to balance your pain management. And some of the many insurance companies won't even cover it when the doctors are telling them this is something that they should get.
Well, in terms of how acupuncture can be used, there are examples of insurers who are providing coverage for acupuncture, but it's in limited circumstances. It's only for certain conditions, for example. So what do you think acupuncture should be covered for, and is that part of what you are addressing with your legislation?
Yeah, we want people to look at acupuncture as a means to manage everyday chronic pains and to extreme pains because acupuncture is a form of medicine that gets to the root cause of why something is painful. The way that we manage pain is to numb the pain by taking and consuming all sorts of drugs, and I'm also guilty of it. When I had my leg injury a few years ago, and it was so painful, I just kept getting more powerful drugs to manage it. But if you want to really get to the root cause of managing some of the pains, especially chronic pains, acupuncture has been found to be very effective. So I'm not saying we have to replace all the pain management, pain drugs that's out there, because we definitely need them in extreme cases. But this is a means to get to the root cause of some of the chronic injuries and chronic pains that people have to deal with, which is why many people who seek physical therapy, chiropractors, also seek acupuncture now as a means to manage some of that pain.
Your legislation applies to what types of insurance plans?
Private insurance plans are now required to cover acupuncture once it's prescribed by a healthcare provider.
And is this just the state-regulated private plans, or would this be the employer-based plans as well, which typically have more of a federal focus?
Employer-based plans, but the state, the Medicaid-backed insurance is not part of this system. This is private, large insurance companies would have to cover this.
And if this is a cost-effective and worthwhile service that should be covered, can you talk about why it wasn't part of the state-run mandate?
Well, I think the private insurance companies are already working with acupuncturists and they're covering it. Some of them are doing it because they found it to be effective and cost-saving. Instead of spending tons of money on very expensive drugs, why not try to heal the pain through something that's much more effective and affordable? So insurance companies are already kind of organically doing it and working with acupuncturists, and this bill would only won't touch that relationship. It will actually help uplift that relationship that's ongoing. But the reason why it's not considered an essential benefit yet, which was the original intent of the bill, original A version was to make this an essential benefit, which is what the Republican counterpart had talked about on the floor. That why are we paying for it? So if it's so good, why isn't Medicaid and the state paying for it? Why are we only mandating the private insurance companies? Right now, the essential health benefit healthcare system is under attack. We don't know what's going to be out there, and we don't at this moment want to expand on the scope, especially when a lot of things are up in the air. So we want to focus on private insurance companies first, and then the long-term goal is to get Medicaid to cover this as well.
If this is a meaningful and affordable healthcare option for managing pain, why make a mandate? Why not just say this is something that insurers will notice and realize is beneficial to them? It works on their bottom line. So if it's good for them, like you're talking about, they'll just do it proactively.
This this legislation was that process of engaging not just practitioners, but insurance companies who also came on board and approved this institutionally and thought that this was fine the way that it was passed. So this was in consensus with the industry accepting that this is a part of the healthcare plan that they should be covering.
And in terms of what a physician can prescribe acupuncture for and have it covered by insurance, we've talked about pain management, but I've seen a whole litany of potential benefits of acupuncture. Would all of those potentially be covered by this insurance mandate, or is it narrow just to, say, pain management or for a certain number of treatments? I mean, how are you going about requiring this coverage?
I think the patient and the consumer, if they're going to the healthcare professional seeking a remedy on certain things like anxiety or other type of pains that we may not think of acupuncture could treat, and if they're prescribed acupuncture, this would require the insurance companies to cover it.
Is there any sort of requirement for the healthcare providers who are prescribing this to have some sort of familiarity with acupuncture? Because I think this could be like a foreign science for a lot of people, so they might be prescribing it theoretically at the direction of their patient because maybe they're not that familiar with it. So why not require healthcare providers become aware of how this works?
Yeah, I think there's been years of practice already, and institutionally and culturally, socially, acupuncture is part of our system now. We have institutions and medical schools that have trained acupuncturists and people who are in the industry for decades. You need at least 3 years of medical training. Some of them have PhDs. Some of them also have MDs. So this is already part of the institutional knowledge. So I'm confident that people on the insurance side, the practitioner side, and consumers know when and where to seek acupuncture properly.
And would this only apply to those licensed acupuncturists in New York? Or if someone was just saying, hey, I practice acupuncture, but I'm not licensed by the state education department, could I still get reimbursed?
This would be for licensed acupuncturists, professional acupuncturists who have been licensed by the state.
And is there a big enough network for people who want to turn to those options that they can take advantage of this mandate if you are successful in moving through the Senate and signed into law?
Yeah, we believe this would open up millions of new consumers who have thought about acupuncture but who have not pursued it because they were unsure if the insurance company will cover acupuncture. People deal with all sorts of pains all day long. Just this morning, I was at my jiu-jitsu class, and one of my teammates, he threw out his back over the weekend doing just stretching. And we're just talking about acupuncture this morning. He was like, I've tried everything else, but my dad tried acupuncture and it was very effective. So I'm going to try it. So this comes up in everyday conversation all the time. And people now that realize, oh, maybe my insurance company will cover it, they're more likely to pursue it.
How do you envision this being implemented in the future? For example, do you think this is going to be, if it becomes law, a rush on acupuncture services, or do you think it's still going to continue to be more of a niche service?
It's already been a high demand field for some time now.
Okay.
More and more New Yorkers and Americans across different states are seeking a holistic way of dealing with their pains and trying to heal their pains instead of numbing their pains. I think more people are aware of a healthy lifestyle, and acupuncture fits into that category of holistic way of healing some of your ongoing pains that people deal with.
Do you think this conversation should open the door to a broader conversation about either holistic treatments or maybe alternative medicine treatments and ensuring that those are covered? Or do you think acupuncture stands alone as sort of a alternative to the traditional Western medicine?
That's a good question. I'm hoping that this could be a stepping stone into opening different ways of looking at medicine and treating people. There's thousands of years of treating people in holistic ways, and there's new data that's coming out every single year based on holistic way of healing and new types of treatment that people are doing, including even venture up as psychedelics. There's a whole new world of people investing time and energy to look at psychedelic type of treatment. I'm not trying to make acupuncture with that category, but it is definitely a way of opening up different way of looking at holistic healing.
Well, we've been speaking with Assemblymember Ron Kim. He is a Queens Democrat. Assemblymember, thanks for visiting us in the studio.
Thank you, David.
Support for the Capitol Press Room is provided by New York State United Teachers, a statewide union of nearly 700,000 professionals in education and healthcare.